there, beautiful dreamer. If you have ever felt like you've been through a season of adversity that you've been challenged to overcome, then this episode is for you, because this month we are celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I chose to name this episode Fight Like a Girl. And that doesn't diminish the battles that we go through, but it actually elevates who we are as women and what we overcome in the challenges that hit us on a daily basis. And this month, as my special guest, I am inviting my sister, Kristy Justice, to be an inspiration to you, just like she's been to me as she's overcome her battle with breast cancer over the past 2 years. So stay tuned and be inspired. Kristy, I am so excited to have you on my podcast. I know we have talked about this for years because every time we're on the phone, you are my go-to person to make me laugh when I'm down. And I'm just so honored to introduce you to my audience in Timeless Truths, because I feel like you have something special to share with all of these women out here, the women who are struggling, the women who are facing battles that they think they can't overcome. Because like I said in the intro, you've definitely become way at the top as one of my heroes over the past 2 years, because you have overcome so much and you've just done it with such joy. You've always been a bright and shining light. I mean, since as far back as I can remember. But this year, you even exceeded the Kristy that I knew growing up. So I want you to share how this adversity was different in your life compared to some of the struggles maybe you had leading up to this point.
Okay. Well, definitely I've had some adversity. I've gone through divorce. I've gone through being a single mom for a long time. And so there's those things that we come across and deal with. And, but this was kind of a shock. I think that so many people that probably have cancer or has a family member that has cancer. But when it comes to you, you're like, is this really happening to me? Are you sure you got it right? Is this your first day? Are you sure it's me? Are you sure I have cancer? But yes, it's a shock. And I think that I don't think it's the illness that made me strong. I think it's the love you have in your life and the faith you have is what makes you strong and keeps you strong. So anybody can do it. And it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to be, I don't think it's being the perfect Christian or where you are in your walk with Christ that makes you able to handle something so huge, so huge. But I think that with everybody, this is just something that you can overcome, like you said, with joy and with grace, because there's a big way to overcome it and overcome it easily, I think. So.
Well, I feel like I said, you've always been positive. And even in high school, I mean, you were the one that was the cheerleader. You've always been that person cheering the crowd on. But I feel like you became even more positive during your cancer journey. So, what brought that on? I mean, and you actually made it like a mandate. I remember you telling me, you started posting things that were positive memes. And it's like like David in the Bible, it said he encouraged himself in the Lord. I feel like you did that not just for yourself, but everyone around you.
Well, I have always been positive, and I've actually been posting those positive memes for probably about 5 years now. But I do think that it hits different when you're going through something like this. So, yeah, I think you're more grateful, and you tend to want to be more courageous and more joyful going through something. I'm going to say so terrible, because this disease is like the enemy. It's it's the enemy invading your body without your permission.
Yes. No, that's true.
So I think I was a little scared, and this is going to sound so bizarre, but I think the first day when I heard it and the lady said, I'm 99% sure you have cancer. And I was like, your eyes fill up with tears and you're like, don't you want to do some more tests? And don't you want to make sure? And but I think that I think after that first week when I went to MD Anderson and that whole week of tests and everything, it was like overwhelming, and I thought I was maybe in denial, but it wasn't that. I kept telling myself, "Oh, you're just in denial," but I think it was more so that I had a peace about it. I had a peace about I'm going to be okay. Even my daughter said, Mom, we thought you were going to freak out and be crying all the time and my life is over. I'm going to die, and, and they were really shocked at the way that I handled it, but it wasn't me all along. It was, somebody else.
And so another thing that I want to point out is because you did like surround yourself with all the loving people and brought that positivity, to the family because it was a shock to us as well. And I think that's what people don't understand. And if you've never encountered a situation where someone really close to you has had their body invaded by the enemy of cancer, you have no idea. But when it happens, when it hits home, your whole circle is affected. Your
Right.
close family, your friends. And that was something, and I told you, like, I was almost envious of you had such a strong community around you. So, what, people don't realize that you have a total disruption of your life, of your schedule, of work. And yet you had this like tribe of women that like just came along beside you, like
When
talk about that.
yeah, well, when you say it affects everybody, it does. I mean, my daughters were going through it too. You were going through it with me. Mom, it really affected mom. I mean, she's still to this day, she worries about me so much. And I guess we can preface it by, I guess, telling viewers what I had. I had advanced stage 3 metastatic breast cancer. So it was spreading, and it was spreading fast and furious. It didn't want to stay in one place. It wanted to take over my perfect body. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't perfect. But I did have an amazing support system. And even some of them came out of the woodwork. No, I've always had and it's really crazy. I've always said that you're my sister, and you're the kind of person that spreads Jesus by talking about it. I spread it in a different way. And I do it by spreading joy and laughter and smiles. My gift is the gift of wittiness. So God gave me that. And people remember that, and people remember kindness, and they remember those things. And in my time of need, all these people came forward. People that I wasn't as close to as I thought to, but when I was fighting this battle, I had all these people saying, I'm part of your army. And I was like, wow, you're going to be here for me? And I was like, you couldn't believe it, right? It was amazing. I've got chills. I mean, it was amazing how many people that I went to high school with that I've known since second grade. I mean, I'm like, I didn't even know you still knew who I was. But I did have this amazing tribe. And you know what it proved to me? It proved to me that when God says he loves us and he's got it covered, he has this umbrella of love, and he opens up that umbrella when you need it, and boy, he sure did. And he let all the love and all the support rain on me. And while I was under this umbrella of love and support, and it made it so much easier for me. I think that I was like, it was almost like I was joined arms with all these people. Okay, we got this, So it wasn't just me facing this battle on my own because, I was single. I didn't have a husband at home to come home and cry to and lay my head on his shoulder to bring me a bowl when I was throwing up from the chemo. I didn't have that. So I had my friends and family, and that's who I had.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, so it's amazing the strength that other people can bring to you that help you get through something like this. And it's tough, and it was tough on them. I mean, I had a few of them break down, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. And I've said, I'm so blessed you're going through it with me, you know? So,
Yeah, you remind me, and this isn't even my scripture, but you talked about how they linked arms with you.
uh-huh.
And there is a scripture in Ecclesiastes. And I actually shared this with someone the other day because I just felt like God was saying, this challenging time is coming. And it reminded me, you remember when we were like little kids at Our Lady of Victory? We played this game, Red Rover, Red Rover.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and that's what I had a picture of, like everybody linking arms, and the whole purpose was for when somebody came over, they couldn't break through,
Hmm.
and that's what I thought about, like with an adversity. And when you have that team of people that link arms with you, in Ecclesiastes, it says that a three-strand cord is not easily broken. And the two strands are you and your friend. And the third strand is God interwoven in there. And when you have that cord of three strands, when the adversity comes against you, you're not going to break. And I just pray that every woman that is listening to this starts cultivating those relationships now. Or like you even said, you don't know, like, don't burn bridges because you don't know that person that you spread joy in their life or you stood beside them, in high school or college, that they
Right,
are going to come out of the woodwork during this season. And
right,
okay, the
exactly.
other thing that I think people don't realize that kind of pulls the rug out from under you, it's bad enough to get the cancer diagnosis. But for someone that's looking from the outside in, what they don't see is that you also have your life and your schedule disrupted. You have to go out of town to doctor's appointments. You have to miss work. You have like surgeries that none of this is convenient. Talk a little bit, just for understanding's sake, share a little bit of that, and the, I don't even want to say the difficulty, just the challenge that people may be oblivious to.
Yeah, and I think the hardest part, and when we talk about my friends that came forward and friends and family that helped me out, they had to drive me to those appointments. So it disrupted their life a little bit too. When I tell you this, if it's a chain reaction when it affects so many different people. So I had people stepping up to help me and take me because after chemo, I felt terrible. I couldn't drive myself, of course, because I felt sick and or tired. It takes so much out of you. That's poison they're putting in you. And but yes, my schedule was totally disrupted. I think the worst part is not only I had started a new job. I was so new to my job, and they didn't know me, they didn't know my work ethic, and I was having to take off immediately. I found out I had cancer, 3 months after I started that job. So they didn't even really know me. But yes, having to ask off when you don't have the time, they understand that it's an illness, but I think it affects everything. It affects your workflow. It affects the people that have to drive you and take care of you. And when you come back, again, you mentioned like the surgeries, that's many days off of work. That's people taking care of you. You remember, the gross parts, being a nurse at home for your sick person. But it is such a challenge, and it was something that was not easy for me. It was that I think that is one of the biggest challenges, not having the cancer itself, but navigating the how do I keep my job.
Yes.
Now, legally, they can't let you go for something like that, but how do I maintain? A lot of people are able to take off of work when they're sick and just lean on their husband or whatever. I'm going to handle this at home and deal with it. And my husband's going to bring home the bacon. Well, I'll tell you what, I only had a couple of strips of bacon in the fridge and I had to bring it home myself. So, so I had to go to work. I mean, I was literally throwing up in the bathroom, when I'd be at work and I was still sick because you have, several days after that it affects you. So I'd be like throwing up in the bathroom. I one of the chemos that I had made my bones hurt to where I cried, the pain. So I had a heating pad and a heated blanket at work to try to ease the pain. It felt like it was pain in my bones. It was just pain all over your body. This is the kind of stuff you want to be laying at home in bed dealing with. So I had to also look normal. So I didn't want anybody to say, "Oh my gosh, you're bald, are you okay?" So I wore wigs to work and tried to look like $1,000,000, going to work and look normal. Not only normal for me, but normal for my coworkers. I wanted it to be, but I was lucky. I think, and also the financial burden of gas and hotels and meals out of town, and all of that was also another added stressor to your life. So, luckily, my big kingdom of friends, threw benefits for me and helped out, and I have some really, really close friends that helped out more than they needed to, and it was amazing. And that's when you really know you're blessed, and you're like, I know that was you. When somebody comes forward in a big way, and you're like, are you sure? Or did you hear what you said? Are you sure you want to bless me in that way? But it is amazing. And I think that one thing I do want to add, I'm definitely not at the same place in my walk with God as you are, or maybe somebody else is, but you don't have to be this perfect Christian for God to take care of you. You can ask him at any time. You can seek God.
Mhm.
And some of my friends don't go to church and whatever, but that does not mean they didn't see God in me. The love that they felt for me, they didn't even realize they were seeing God in me, and that's who they wanted to help. That's who they wanted to. So you see, people, it brings people to you. We bring people to God without knowing, just like Charlie Kirk, all these people want to know God now.
Yes. And that's one of the cool things. Like I said, you have so many friends, and I hope that this is a way to tell them how much we love and appreciate them standing beside you during that season, because I was in awe. I was in awe of the way they stepped up, the capacity to which they stepped up. Like you said, people taking off work to drive you to your appointments, 2.5 hours away to sit with you at the hospital. I was just in awe. Now, I want to kind of switch gears, and I want to talk about this question that comes up all the time, especially, being a strong Christian and publicly proclaiming my faith and talking to people all the time. They always say, if God is so good, why would he allow this to happen? And it makes me think of the story in Daniel chapter 3 about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were not about to compromise their belief in God. And they were asked to bow down to a statue, and they wouldn't. They wouldn't compromise. It's like, I don't know why this is happening, but I'm not going to compromise my beliefs. I'm not going to doubt. I'm not going to waver. And this is what they said in verse 16. They said, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us. And we know that. We've heard of people that have been healed of cancer or, other miraculous things. Personally, I told you on the phone yesterday, this week, in the middle of Breast Cancer Awareness Week, who knew? I've celebrate the anniversary of one husband that I lost to cancer, and then another husband that survived cancer. Both of these dates are in 1 week, and I don't understand why one died of cancer and one survived. We don't know the answers to these questions. And then it goes on to say, we know our God is able to deliver us from it. But even if he does not, and that's where it gets difficult. That's where people don't understand. It's like, even if he doesn't deliver us, we're still going to serve him. And that's what, you had to go through this 2-year battle. And I want people to understand, how does that resonate in your heart and your mind today?
Well, today I just feel like this really, wonderful warrior. But I will say that although I didn't believe that, I did cry sometimes thinking when I was sick, like, why do I have to go through this? But I never questioned God. I never questioned, why did you let this happen to me? I've heard people say during my life, my husband was ill and died. I don't know why God would let that happen. Okay, number one, or God make it happen, or why he did that to us. God didn't do that.
Yes.
First of all, that's not God, that's the enemy.
Yes.
But I knew that it was a kind of, like I told you, I kind of had a peace about it. And I thought, God, I never questioned God. I felt like I'm supposed to go through this. I'm going to grow from this. And I have three amazing daughters that have learned, look how strong you can be. And not only breast cancer, I got to have two types of cancer because I'm an overachiever. I thought, why not throw kidney cancer in there too? And let's just do both. So, but luckily, it wasn't as bad. But yeah, I think that what I was teaching all of my family, even you, even mom, look how strong. I mean, I had to lose all my hair for somebody who's this much vain. I do like to look nice when I go out in public, and you look in the mirror and you think, I look like an old bald man, so that, and not, and having the double mastectomy, I felt less than a woman.
Yeah.
I felt like less than a woman. I will tell you, there is things that you go through that make you question, but I never questioned, why did God let this happen to me?
Yeah, that's the other thing, that if you aren't going through the battle, you can't comprehend those things like losing hair. And we see people out in public that are going through chemotherapy and they've lost their hair. And a lot of us can attest to seeing it, but we can't imagine the inner struggle of not having hair. And you covered it so well. Like you said, you wore wigs to work, you wore wigs all the time. I felt like you were Jennifer Garner in Alias. Every time I saw you, you had a different
I
person.
wish I would have thought like that. I would have thought I was so cool. But I did say stuff like that. I thought, who am I going to be today? And I would go to work saying, I'm Jessica today. And when I'd wear different color wigs, and I'd have different like supervisors say, who are you today? And I said, Lexi.
Yeah, we need to show the picture of you with in the pink wig, in front of the pink um, fire truck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But those, again, your external reaction to an internal struggle, because like you said, having the mastectomy, losing your hair, it messes with your mind and your womanhood, because those are external signs of who we are. And we live in a society that is so driven by external appearances. And I want, when I talk about fight like a girl and facing these adversities, those are some of the ones that people don't even look at. They're, well, at least you didn't die. But how did you have to go beyond the challenge that you faced on a daily basis just to get to the other side of this battle?
Right. I think the challenge of like feeling, like I told you, I felt less than a woman. I think one of the challenges is, like, say if somebody gets burned in a fire, they're totally changed and they have to live with that. I have these scars all over from the different surgeries, from the tools, from the having, the different breast mastectomy surgery, and the different, when they put the placeholders or whatever they call them, and then the reconstruction. So I have all kinds of scars going every which way. I've got burns from the radiation. I've got big patches of burns where it scarred me. I look at myself, and you know how you said we think about what society thinks. I look at myself and I'm thinking, I'm single, and this is not the body that I signed up for, but I mean, we do, because that's the way we care about what society thinks. We care about, we shouldn't care, but I do care. I care what I look like on here. I come on this video with you with my hair up in a scrunchie like I just woke up from bed? No, I comb my hair and I put makeup because we care what people think.
Yeah. And can we just celebrate how much your hair has grown out?
I know. It's so long. This is my real hair, y'all. This is
Yeah.
not a wig.
I love that. I mean,
I
it's
know.
like so exciting. Every milestone was so exciting.
Oh yeah, this is 2 years of growth. So I'm just so excited. I just think it feels so long. I can feel it on my neck. I will tell you, some of the downfalls of being bald is I have a leather couch, and when I'd lay on the headrest and my head would stick to it, I'd feel this. That was horrible. I was like, what? I feel it like peeling off. But yeah, it was not fun sometimes. So
I saw this quote by Nelson Mandela, and it says, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." And that's what I think. That's what a true hero is. It's the one that gets hit by adversity. It's the one that has the carpet pulled out from underneath them. It's the one that faces all of these challenges and obstacles and battles time after time, but doesn't stay down, that gets back up. And so I was thinking the other day, we're very blessed because we have our mom's genes, right? And going into our sixth decade, I feel like the sister that I have now, the Kristy that I see before me now, is even more beautiful, more stronger, more confident than you've ever been in your life, coming out on the other side of this horrific battle. And so I love to challenge my audience with something that a takeaway from the episode. So how can you encourage the women that are going through a challenge or an obstacle, or maybe even the same fight with breast cancer during this season? Like, what changed you and made you the woman you are today?
well, I felt like I had a lot to live for. I don't know why it's always in the background of my mind here recently, but I think that I had a lot to live for. And like I told you, what keeps coming to mind is, and I know I didn't want to bring it up again, but Erica Kirk, she lost her husband.
Yes.
Look how strong she is for those kids and for her beliefs. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, you can't make that be a bad thing for me that I had to go through that, because I've got so much more to look forward to. And that's kind of the way you got to look at it. Why would I want to go backwards? I've got so much more to look forward to. And that's with anybody that faces any kind of battle, any kind of sickness. If this is one of the things my doctor said, if you start giving up, like you can't eat going through chemo, you're just not hungry. But I forced myself to eat, even if I would throw it up. You got to force yourself to want to see what's on the other side. Don't give up.
Yes.
If you give up, you're missing out on all the fun. You're missing out on the beauty of what's on the other side.
Yes.
And that's really the best way I can encourage somebody is, if you give up too soon, you're going to miss out on something amazing.
Yeah.
So don't give up. Just keep fighting, because it's worth it.
I love that you tied it into what we experienced a few weeks ago with Charlie Kirk and how Erica Kirk came out of it. Because if you think right now, what is the worst thing that could happen to you? And I love your challenge to not give up. So I want to challenge everyone. I don't care what you're going through today. I want you to focus on, what legacy are you leaving? What legacy are you leaving, like Charlie Kirk did, like Erica Kirk has, in your future? Like you said, your girls just think that you're this amazing warrior woman because you overcame the struggle. I think you're this incredible, fighter.
I am Charlie Kirk.
We're gonna get t-shirts instead of like Team Kristy. We're gonna get t-shirts. I am Charlie Kirk. But we want that for our lives. So yes, bad things are going to happen. We live in a fallen world. So beautiful dreamer, I want to encourage you, whatever obstacle, whatever adversity that you're going through right now, like Kristy said, don't give up. Push through, because you don't know who's watching you. You don't know whose life that you're affecting by getting back up. Yes, right?
Yeah, without even knowing you're touching people's lives.
Yes.
They're feeding off of you with like when I post positive sayings, I'll say like, share your smile today. You don't know whose day it made better, because we don't know what people are going through.
Yes.
Get up.
So
fight.
I thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to me.
I know why God wanted me to get through this. I know He wanted me to share my joy and my love and my story.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for encouraging everybody else that no matter what they go through, that they need to keep fighting, keep going, not give up, and remember, happily ever after. isn't the
That's
way.
right.